have a movie on Monday in prime time, therefore thereby giving us a
I've
movie every
lost a
night of the
whole
week.
lot
That
of
would be
interest
3
in
nights for
posting
NBC,
YouTube
2 for
videos.
CBS, and 2 for ABC. And
I
I
bought
predicted that very
2
shortly the three
video
networks would petition
cameras.
Congress to change the week to 9 days
Yeah,
so that each of them could have...
the child. I bought 2 video cameras. Both are very cheap, obviously. I want to post the videos because it's not that I want the views, I want the responses. But I'm not getting responses. I'm getting thumbs ups. Yay!
Three nights. But to go along with that point, I believe some national group predicted that we were heading for a national nervous breakdown. The anxieties and so forth. Now, when you put on an old movie, it's possible that it...
Well, I'll give you that for a fact. I quit my job and put in that I was taking a sabbatical for 2.5 months because of anxiety. I was like, hey, God sent me an angel once. He said, you will not die of anxiety. Now, he said, you will not die of stress. That's the exact words. Yeah, I know, right? And then you got a dog.
It'll be a movie made about some social problem, but a problem that was contemporary 6, 7, 10, 15 years, 20 years ago. And that makes it safe.
Oh, no question.
And again, this is the kind of programming that television, national television, seems to be this escapist type.
There's no reason to believe these guys are talking honestly.
Mm-hmm. It's reminiscent of television in its early days, when indeed there was certainly a race problem in those days. It wasn't out in the street. It wasn't loud in our ears. It wasn't infesting our gut, our conscious gut, as it is today. But by God, there was anguish amongst minorities then, as there is now.
I remember that play you wrote, A Town Turned to Dust.
Oh, yeah, which, well, you see, then you assaulted the straw men who were acceptable.
Really? Rod Serling is talking about that at less than a minute and a half in, and he's talking about the straw man. Let's go.
It was minority groups. Mexicans, American Indians, Eskimos, beaten down, downtrodden peasants under the Tsar. These were the minorities, but not the Negro. Now, consequently, I think the purpose, the point of a dramatic show, which is used as a vehicle of social criticism...
I just want to point out as well that the hiring practices at work, well, where I don't work anymore because I put in my sabbatical notice, are ridiculous. The people that can work and do work are quote-unquote getting rewarded with more hours. But they're also working 6 days a week. And sometimes those 6 days a week are back to back. So you work Monday to Saturday, and then Sunday to Friday to get a Saturday off. So you're working a zillion days in 2 weeks. And then you get 1 day off. Because that's how they are doing the whole bit about not working someone more than 5 days a week. Because there's a lot of people that want to work 6 days a week. But there's a lot of people that don't want to work 6 days a week. And they're still having to work 6 days a week because they keep getting this notification, hi, you're working 6 days this week. But the thing is that they're working them for 12 days in a row. Who wants to work 12 days in a row? No one. I talked to a couple of the employees there. Obviously, I work there, or worked there, and I plan on working there again after July 4th. Okay, let's think about this. Let's go at it from the deal. When I first started, I had to tell them I needed 2 days off in a row, Wednesday and Thursday, to do my other primary job, which is landscaping. I had to tell them that. But otherwise, they were working me. I was still getting 3 days off in 1 week. But I was never getting 2 days off in a row. They just like split it up. It's ridiculous.
Is to involve an audience, to show them wherein their guilt lies, or at least indeed their association. But when you're talking
because
about a
I
bunch
am
of cavalrymen,
an effective performer,
knocking off a bunch of poor redskins and putting them into a reservation, the audience need to have no association, certainly no guilt. How many Indians have they pushed into a reservation? But if indeed you talk about a denial of a man putting his garbage can next to yours, whether he's fought in Vietnam or wherever.
I did not make this Rod Serling video. This is a Rod Serling video that I am recording.
By virtue of his color, now you're getting into a universal guilt, which they should feel, or at least quite understand.
You can extend that and dilate around a very important
Okay.
Right along, Jeff.
I just want to point out that all the people that are working all these extended days happen to share the skin tone of Rod Serling.
And I'm not suggesting that we suddenly develop a gigantic school of protest here, or of social comment, in which we preoccupy ourselves with commentative drama, this sort of thing. But I do believe the nature of the times now demand that television takes positions, that it exposes both sides of controversy.
I know. I'm just an absolute dick for interrupting all this stuff. But, no. Just like, people need to say no. But the thing is that 90% of the workers at my previous work, hopefully my future work, are female, and they don't know how to say no.
I've yet, for example, I keep thinking this awfully, not to inject a political note into this, but I have a feeling we're dealing with a faceless enemy in terms of the Vietnamese. At least when Jack Warner ran Warner Brothers, I knew what a Japanese soldier looked like, albeit a cartoon version. He had gigantic teeth and myopic vision, and he ran around assaulting nuns and torturing Clark Gable. And indeed, the Nazi was the unregenerative animal with a whip. And he pointed with the whip for the...
Oh my goodness, none of that should be going on around here. Except for that, like my current, not my current, my former, if I can't find another job. My other, he's been working for this same company for 41 years. And he's a store manager. I'm thinking, you get no respect. You haven't advanced. 41 years and you're a store manager.
These thousands to go into that gas chamber and so and so. Now television gives us Hogan's Heroes. And next year I suppose it'll be the Merry Men of Auschwitz.
Yes.
And a big a dance
That's
thing on the Death March of
hilarious.
Bataan.
Yeah, ballet maybe.
A ballet of that sort. You see, I think this is a distortion. Now, when we're talking about, if indeed they want to have the temerity to suggest what is a moment in American history or world history, do it properly.
But you know, one thing
You
we
may have
must
to
believe.
tell them a story of
That's right.
prejudice in parable form, in
Yeah.
which they...
Hey, well, you know what? There happens to be a guy that tells the story of prejudice in a parable form. Just some guy a couple thousand years ago, you know, because we've only had a couple thousand years to get it right. So if we've had a couple thousand years to get it right, then obviously we're not gonna get it right. Resign yourselves to death.
may step aside as third persons and cluck and say how awful we treat our minority groups. But at least they know that it's an evil, and they will recognize it as such. And by osmosis or some incredible process, will somewhere along the line be faced with a situation in which they too may have to exercise a prejudice and be conscious of it as an evil. Now, on Twilight Zone, for example, done during just as timorous a time as any other time, we made a comment on prejudice, on conformity, on intolerance, on censorship. But it's easy to do it when you're talking about
But
Buck Rogers
not-
isn't allowed
not-
to write his memoirs the way he
can't-
wants to write them.
Yeah.
So he puts
No,
on his
you
backpack,
can't-
his rocket pack, and he
can't
zooms over
make
to the
that
publisher. And they applaud and
statement.
laugh and think
Oh,
how
my
exciting and
goodness.
interesting.
Oh, he's
Now, it may
gonna
well
keep
be
making
that the
that
inner
statement.
message may never get...
Despite all my best efforts, he's gonna go on and on and on. No, that's so Rod Serling of him.
through. But I think peripherally it does get through.
I myself am not